Welcome to the Picky Girl Travels podcast, the show for Black women who want more out of life and to live it as they see fit. The message here is all about defying convention, embracing adventure, and regretting absolutely nothing. I am your host, Adalia of PickyGirlTravelsTheWorld.com. I am your host, Adalia of PickyGirlTravelsTheWorld.com. Since the start of this podcast, my goal has been pretty clear: to help more Black women live life on their terms. To do this, I share the experiences of women who were able to shove aside society's expectations so that they could live the life they want, as well as my own experiences. So that gives you some idea of where I'm coming from with today's episode. I feel like American culture and society is obsessed with the concept of niceness. But particularly for women, to be nice is to be accommodating, friendly, approachable, and likable. How many times have you thought to yourself, before you said something, you were thinking, I don't want to sound like a bitch? Or, you did or said something, but and it wasn't received well, and you're thinking to yourself, but I was trying to be nice. Being not nice, AKA mean, rude, a bitch, whatever, is behavior unbecoming of a woman, unbecoming of a lady. We have all wrestled with this. I'd be shocked if there are any of you watching or listening to this right now that haven't had that inner dialogue going on. Think about when you are not interested in someone romantically. How hard do you try to be nice when you break up with them, when you let them down, you attempt to let them down easy, let them know that you are not interested? Think about that. I'm gonna be real with y'all. I have lost count of how many times me trying to be nice to some dude I wasn't interested in came back to bite me in the ass. That's probably why I just started ghosting dudes, because it made things easier for me. Do men typically worry about this sort of thing? About people thinking or perceiving them as being nice or not nice? I don't think so. I really don't think that men are judged in this way and weighed down by this. Then there's the flip side, where we're also conditioned to judge other people, especially women, by whether or not they come off as nice or whether they look like a nice person. I can't tell y'all how many times I've heard in my life, "Ooh, I thought you were mean before I got to know you." I have tons of experiences like that because the universe decided to bless me with a awesome resting bitch face, which means it's just my face and I'm sitting there just breathing and existing, but how other people perceive me is that she's mean, she's not nice. I don't really give a damn about what other people think, but I have had to deal with the consequences of those perceptions of me not being nice, of me not looking nice just because that's my face. I once had a boss take time to call me at my home when I was off contract. Some of y'all know I used to work in K-12 education. So we're talking about during the summer. I am not on contract. And my boss had the nerve to call me to discuss that I didn't smile enough, and to reprimand me for folding my arms during the meeting because I didn't look like I was a team player. See, this is the thing. The idea about how somebody perceives us or whether we come off as nice or not, it kind of seems like a minor thing. But here, in this situation, just my natural face, my regular disposition was about to mess with my money, was going to cause me, and did cause me, lots of problems in that portion of my career. Hearing from her that the fact that I was like this, with my arms folded and no smile on my face, meant that I was not a team player. Like, what the hell? So ask yourself, how many times have you made a judgment about another person or their value based on how nice you thought they were? Now, I'm not trying to convict anybody. I'm just trying to maybe open some eyes, make some folks aware. The thing is, this week in this episode, I am here to tell you one thing. Fuck being nice. What's the prize you get for being nice, for people thinking you are nice? I would argue that, yeah, maybe you can skirt by a little bit. In your interactions, you might have a boss that doesn't trip on you like mine did. Being nice, here's the thing. I want to clarify this. Being nice is not the same as being kind, being ethical, or being moral. Someone can outwardly be nice and say all of the so-called polite things and smile while doing a whole bunch of shady shit, or believe that my life is worth less because of the color of my skin, but on the surface, they're doing all the things that a nice person does. So yeah, miss me with that nice shit. You can't ask why, or you can't examine or contemplate why society prizes women's niceness. You can't do that without having to point a finger at the patriarchy. And in the US, you absolutely cannot separate the patriarchy from white supremacy. Those two go hand in hand. Two truths that I have observed in my 47 some odd years of life is that only women are held to this standard and expected not only to uphold, but also to perpetuate this cult of niceness. Think about it, how we are expected to be nice, to expect niceness, or the people going through the motions of niceness. But y'all, men don't have to do this bullshit. They don't. Time and time again, I have observed white Americans use niceness and civility as their weapon every time that they are confronted with the blatant double standards that exist in the United States with respect to the treatment of people who look like me. Over and over again, I have seen people defend abhorrent behavior because they knew the perpetrator to be a genuinely nice person. I am so over all of that. If you think back to the insurrection of 2021 in the US, and you think about all the media coverage we saw of those people who tried to overthrow the US government, when there was a mild attempt to hold them accountable for their actions. In response, there were calls for people to be nice and civil and claim Claims from the insurrectionists themselves that they were nice, good people. They were patriots. I said it earlier, but it bears repeating. Nice is not the same as being ethical or moral. It's such an interesting phenomenon to observe. I mean, you ever notice how upset racists get when you point out their racism or when you call them a racist? Honestly, they often seem to be more upset by you calling them a racist than actually doing something that could be construed racist, but that's a conversation for another day. They will tell you they are a nice person. How can they be racist? I have run across plenty of nice bigots, y'all. One thing has nothing to do with the other. But the issue isn't just why we're expected to exemplify niceness, but also what it costs us to do so. In order to appear nice, we self-censor. We don't say what we really feel. We don't use pointed language to express ourselves. We often avoid being straightforward. We put wanting other people to perceive us in a positive light ahead of being honest about how we feel. What's crazy is that a lot of the time, we're not even conscious that we're doing this. I will be the first to admit that I have been guilty of this in the past. Not the Adalia you know now, but the Adalia from the first half of my life was very much guilty of biting her tongue when I shouldn't have. And it's still something I have to police myself about and make a conscious decision that no, I'm going to say what I'm going to say. And if it makes somebody uncomfortable, or if somebody thinks I'm not nice because that's what I said, oh well, so be it. That is a them problem. That is not a me problem. What is it they say? The first step to recovery is admitting you have a problem. The other way that being nice often costs us is that we shrink ourselves so we'll be tolerable and we won't rock the boat. We go along to get along, because if we respond in the way that we really want to, we're often called intimidating, unlikable, neither of which is something a nice woman would want to be. Shrinking ourselves is second nature to Black women, particularly because the additional burden we have of being Black people who by default are considered to be intimidating and unlikable simply because of our skin color. And I know that there are people in my audience who are not Black and who are not women. The statement I just made is not up for debate. Look at the events of this past weekend, and that's enough to tell you that I know what I'm talking about. Black women who hope to navigate society with any modicum of success have no choice but to shrink themselves. So think about what that is costing us mentally, physically. It's not good, y'all. When we let being nice take precedence, we are effectively dismissing our own needs, our own wants. I see this a lot with some of my clients who want to move abroad. The way friends and family react, they just won't share their plans with their loved ones, and some will even change their minds about leaving the United States just to keep the peace. But here's the thing. When we dismiss what we need, what we want, what we're actually doing is prioritizing other people before ourselves. And at first glance, you might think that there is nothing wrong with that. As a woman, you're supposed to put your family ahead of yourself, your kids, right? No, you're not. If you think about it, that whole concept is completely whack. You are a human with needs, with dreams, constantly pushing them to the back, and sacrificing yourself isn't healthy and it isn't fair. Fill your cup first. You deserve to be authentic to yourself and pursue the things that are important to you. I'm always going to tell you to choose yourself first, and I make no qualms about that. Because here's the thing a lot. I'm not going to make any qualms about that. Self-sacrifice, like this idea that you've got to put other people first because you're a woman, right? And then that you're supposed to sacrifice yourself. That's right up there with niceness when it comes to the list of qualities that our society values when it comes to women. Again, ask yourself, do we as a society expect this kind of behavior from men? Do we value men who put what they want on the back burner and sacrifice themselves, run themselves ragged for other people? Do we? I don't think we do. I don't think we do. If you're not a whole, healthy version of yourself, how in the hell are you going to be there for the people in your life and be at your best? So again, I'm always going to tell you to choose you. Let us not forget that we also try to be nice in order to keep ourselves safe. This, I don't feel, gets discussed enough in mixed company. Because as women, y'all already know exactly what I'm talking about. But I would bet that a lot of the men in your lives don't realize that when you are walking down the street, or you have a conversation, or you meet some person, typically a man, and they make comments, it is often an act of self-preservation for you to try to be nice. I'm sure, like me, you learn this at a very young age. Nobody even had to expressly teach it to you. I bet it's something you picked up on your own, which says something really horrible about how society treats women and young girls. But in light of the latest trampling of rights of folks with uteruses, it's not the least bit surprising. Y'all know what I'm talking about. A man says something to you while you're walking down the street, and you smile and nod and you wave, because if you reply what you want to say, how's he going to respond? Is he going to physically attack me? Like, am I going to be able to safely make it off of this corner? So that, when you think about it, that is really messed up. But y'all know what it is. Y'all know what I'm talking about, though. So then that begs the question, if being nice or always trying to be perceived as nice is bullshit, what are you supposed to be? Be intentional. Be bold. Be confident. Be authentic. Be kind. Be ethical. Be anything you want to be, but don't disrespect yourself trying to be nice. Don't do it. So that might have come off a little bit as of a rant, but it is something I really do feel strongly about. So Y'all can let me know in the comments on YouTube. You can leave a voicemail. You can hit me up or DM me on social media. What do you think of today's episode? Is there another topic that you would like to have discussed? Let me know that as well. Thank you for watching, listening, subscribing, sharing the podcast with people you thought could benefit from it. If you want to support the podcast financially, you can do that. There are links in the description to become a patron, to buy me a hot chocolate. But until next time.